so dunkel. What? Okay, we are live. I think at least. We are live. That's better. My friends, welcome back to another episode of Advent with Manny. Happy third Advent, my friends, I should say. You know, if I wouldn't sit in the way, you could actually see the thing, with the 3 candles. Wait, I'm just moving a little bit. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? To give you a little bit of the Christmas feel, it's coming up. Can you feel it already? It's coming up, man. How far are we away? 2 weeks? 2 weeks until Christmas? 11 days. 11 days. So yeah, we gotta get the spirit going, So here we have the candles in the background. Maybe you could light another candle then later, because I forgot. Because there's another candle here close to the Weihnachtsstern. I think that it's called in German, at least. Can't really say how it's called in English. Maybe it's called a Christmas star. That would be a nice translation. Ooh, sorry, that was a little loud. So yeah, welcome back, my friends. Please let me know how the sound quality is, how the video quality is. I'm trying my best here to improve the setup bit by bit, gaining experience by making live stream after live stream. Hopefully it's always getting a little bit better. Unfortunately, my Rode Video Mic Pro left me. It just doesn't work anymore. Who knows why? Maybe it's 2 days beyond the guarantee or anything, beyond the warranty, I think it's called in English. So yeah, now it died, and we're working with the Zoom H1 here with the audio recorder only, without the mic. So hopefully the sound quality is decent. We get some feedback here by QGHHKJ. Sound/picture is great. That's good to hear. Drop a like on the stream if you're here already. That would be very appreciated. Let the stream get a little bit more traction, maybe. And as always, I would say, let's start with a couple of anecdotes from the week, shall we? In case you're wondering why I'm casted in shadows here sometimes, that's because Mona is jumping back and forth here in the kitchen, doing her stuff. She's wonderful. She's wonderful. You're always, I always do the cooking, and she does always the dishes and stuff. So it's kind of shared work here. It's teamwork. That's amazing. So what happened that week, man? Training is going so, I must say. Let me show you the beautiful plan here. So that's the week here. We got 2 climbing sessions in, both on the home wall. Okay, so we're rocking hard on the home wall, man. The home wall is, it's destroying my fingertips, man. Not on the outside, not on the skin, but on the inside. I think my flesh and bones of my first finger, pad is double as hard as before I had the beautiful home wall. Okay, so we have some pretty goddamn effective holds on this wall, and you gotta hold on to these holds actively. You have to compress the flesh of your fingertips together like crazy. Wonderful. So we got 2 home wall sessions in. Unfortunately, no outdoor bouldering session this week because it just was always so wet and cold, man. If it was only cold and at least sun, that would be actually pretty cool. That would be perfect conditions. But wet and cold, and then you've got this wonderful home wall at home. It's really hard to get your ass together, to rip yourself together and get outdoors into the cold, wet stuff. And then you're slipping off holds because it's greasy and everything. I gave in and just dropped the home wall down here and had 2 awesome home wall sessions instead. 1 hangboard session and 1 core and 1 cardio session. The core session actually happened yesterday, and the cardio session happened today, right before the stream actually. Hopped into the shower and now getting ready for the stream as usual. The hangboard session, man, I'm struggling to beat my personal bests, man. If I'm completely honest with you, if I would follow my rule that if I would not break my personal best in terms of numbers on the hangboard 3 sessions in a row, in case you were diligent and you watched some previous streams of mine, there I said if I don't do that, then I actually should change my approach, because it means that I am somewhat plateauing, right? So I should change something. But I'm so close. I feel like I'm so close to, breaking through into that one armor territory, that crazy, vicious 15 millimeter edge one armor territory. I'm just 5 kilograms of assisting weight away. And I know that from my one armor training from back in the day, when I trained for the one armor on a bar first, and then I trained for a one armor on the 23 millimeter edge on the Beast Mix 2000. And for all of these one armors, there was the law that once I was 4 kilograms of assisting weight away from these one armors, I could actually try on a good day the one armor, and maybe I was lucky and I could actually pull it, And I want to break through into that territory again. Man, I'm only 5 kilograms away, so that's 1 kilogram from 4 kilograms away, right? But in the last 2 sessions, I only hit, I think, 6.5 kilograms with both hands. I couldn't break the 5 kilograms, which I had, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago or something. So I don't know, man. Maybe if I would be consequent like that, I should change my approach probably pretty soon. Do something like repeaters again or stuff. But it just goes it goes against my will, I wanna break through into the max power territory anyway. So we got the core session done, we got the cardio session done, and something else I got done today, which I want to show you. You're the happy guys, the lucky guys here on the live stream to get a little bit of a preview of what's coming next on the home wall. Look at this beauty here. Can you see that? This is a hole. This is actually a pocket. And it is so small that only one finger fits in. We call this a mono in the professional climbing language, So you get here into this guy, and then you pull with one finger. And you gotta imagine, this guy is gonna go on a 45-degree overhang, right? So, of course, I did it a little bit tilted. And there is also this tilt here down here, which kind of indicates the tilt of the pocket as well. And I put a lot of work into these, man. It's not easy to make pockets like these, especially with the simple tools that I have access to. And this is a residual wood from the wall build. And I simply took a couple of wood drills and drilled in a couple of times into the area where I wanted the pocket to be. And after some time, I could just simply push the wood out, and then the sandpaper action starts, right? You form a little roll out of sandpaper. You're sanding that thing off like for half an hour or something, but then you still have the ridges from the drilling, some ridges at least. And what I found, what helps really well against this stuff, because at first I sanded it, and then I left a little bit of ridge, because to get 100% rid of the ridges is just taking like 1 hour of sanding, right? After half an hour of sanding, of 90% of it. But the thing is that I mounted the thing on the wall to test it, and I pulled full force with some chalk into that pocket. And thanks, Mona. Thank you very much for the beautiful candle in the back. She's now killing the Advent candles, because they are actually pretty small, and we have to save them for upcoming Advent events, But anyway, so I wanted to get rid of these ridges, because when you pull really hard on these pockets and you've got a little bit of a ridge going there, your skin is going to press into that ridge like crazy, and it's going to ruin your skin after like 2, 3, 4 attempts or something. So it's actually very crucial that one finger pockets like these are super smooth inside. So what I did is I took a bit of wood glue, and placed it into the ridge, and let it dry. And then it's already getting really smooth. And then you get into the pocket with sandpaper again, sanding it off one more time. And this way, I got them smoother and smoother, by as time went by. And I think now they are actually ready. I still need to let the glue dry properly. But yeah, this one is gonna go on pretty soon. Yeah. I'm really curious to see if I can actually hold them. Yeah, I'm not even sure whether I can actually hold them. When I pulled on them now, it felt really, really hard. Today's a rest day, so I didn't want to push it too much, right? But when I pull on them now, it feels super hard, man. I expect them to get a little bit better once they are chalked in and once I'm warmed up, right? So yeah, we're gonna make some mono boulders pretty soon, I guess. That's gonna be awesome. And because I'm a diligent guy, right? I got 3 of these. Look at these beauties. They don't take much space on the wall at all, obviously, because it's just a freaking crappy small hole like that. But that's gonna be awesome, man. And then I've got another guy here, and that's this guy here. I mean, look at this beautiful hold. I got this sent by a guy who makes holes out of yew tree, actually out of yew wood, and out of beech. And this is actually yew. So this is pretty interesting to work with. Super delicate as well. It came as a mono, but I figured, man, I can't hold a mono like this because it was really sharp the way how he sanded it, and I was pretty sure that it would give me some skin issues right away when I was trying this stuff. So I enlarged it into a 3-finger slot. Yeah. And this is what I did. But of course, I took away a lot of material, and now it's a very delicate hold. And I already tried to screw it down once. I split it, unfortunately. So now I glued it back together. But I guess I will still have to make some new, some new holes for the screws, actually, to be able to mount it without splitting. Yeah, but I've got a spot on the wall which fits perfectly for this guy as well. And this is a beautiful 3-finger slot there. Yeah. And the question really arises here, why do we actually need slots compared to edges at all? We could just right away take edges like this, right? The thing is, psychologically, if we create a hard boulder like this and we just want to force ourselves to grab it like this, 3-finger openly, what we always gonna do in the end, we're gonna crimp it, because we want to get the boulder done and then we crimp it. The cool thing about slots like these and also about these pockets is that you cannot crimp them, okay? Because there is just no place for the thumb to go to. This is amazing. That's why I always love to have pockets as well on system boards like these, because they force you to actually grip openly, and this way you can train the open grip as well, and not only crimping everything down, right? And actually, I already talked to my mom as well today. Maybe I should tell you that as well. I talked to my mom today, and I think I'm gonna get some slopers for Christmas. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. And I think 4 or 6, like completely half sphere slopers, which you normally see on the campus boards and stuff like that. And they are gonna go on this wall as well. And I'm pretty curious to see if it's actually holdable, stuff like this on a 45-degree overhang, right? I mean, a sloper like this, it also becomes quite a pinch, I think, in this situation. So that's going to be interesting as well. Live stream receptacle. Today we're going with the beautiful Erdinger again. Yeah. So that's going to be an awesome... I think we're going to have some time until this gets empty. All right, my friends, how are you doing? Tell me something about your training and stuff like that. Post some questions. I'm gonna simply start now with answering the first couple of stuffs. Hi, Manny. David Hanser says, Servus. What's up, David? What's going on? Paul Tanner says, if you had to pick between being Alex Megos' sleeping bag warmer or Pirmin the Beatles' belay bitch for a week, what would you pick? But seriously, how far do you feel off 9A? That's a cool question. Look, I mean, I'm definitely not gonna be Pirmin the Beatles' freaking belay bitch. Okay, no, that's not gonna happen. I fear I would be Alex Megos' sleeping bag warmer, and hope that way that I at some point gonna end up as his belay bitch as well at some point. No, I don't know. Actually, I met Alex Megos in Magalev, and I climbed with him already. I didn't climb with him. he was at the crag with me, and I tried an 8B. I checked an 8B out, and he wanted to flash it. So I gave him some beta. And he already had his own belay bitch for that flash, so I didn't need to help him there. But I guided him to the top as he was flashing it. That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Was pretty cool to see a human being with such power, because I mean it was a super powerful 8B starting in a complete roof with chipped holes like crazy, like chipped edges and stuff. And he was campusing simply the edge, because it's actually like that. When you have this much power, stepping can be a mistake, actually. Okay, because stepping is a source of problems if you slip off a step, a foothold like that, right? Like, for example, okay, he steps something, then tries to. Why stepping? If you can just simply lock it off, then there is only one source of air, enough power to lock it off. So he just simply goes for it, feels the edge, and says to himself, okay, I can lock it off. Let's go off the feet, locks it off, clips the draw, and keeps on campus boarding like this, right? So yeah, it was impressive to see that. Yeah, and I met him in Magalev. People like these, that's always the thing, man. This is why I always talk about finger strength divided by body weight, okay? You don't really know about this stuff when you not see this in action yourself sometimes, yeah? I saw it in action not only with myself, but much more so with other people who are crazy freaking strong, much stronger than I am. And what's at work here is finger strength divided by body weight, man. This dude is a freaking stick figure, okay? The people don't look that lean on camera, and they don't look that shredded and everything. But when you see these guys in real life, shredded to the bones, man, and no legs at all. I remember his trousers. When he was doing the moves, his trousers were like they were going like flags in the wind, There were nothing was in those trousers, man. Nothing was in those trousers. Yeah, crazy freaking finger strength divided by body weight. This is where it's at. Yeah. But yeah, cool dude, funky dude, man. a little bit strange. He has this kind of strange look all the time, and then a little bit of a strange laughing style, I think. But he's a cool dude, I think. But seriously, how far do you feel off 9A? I'm actually getting closer as we speak, I feel. Yeah. And why? Because of the home wall. Okay, the home wall gives me the power. I have created this week my first, I think, what I could call 8A plus on the home wall, and I was actually almost sending it. I already did the first 8A on the home wall, which took me much longer than the 8A outdoors. Yeah, the 8A traverse was pretty much in total, I spent like 1 hour for this 8A. Yeah, 2 sessions. At the end of one session and the beginning of another session, I did this 8A, and it didn't feel that hard. I didn't climb it quickly as well, and still could send it. But this 8A here on the home wall, just 3 freaking hard moves, took me 4 or 5 sessions. I mean, this project is, of course, much more approachable because it's on the home wall, right? But I'm pretty confident that this is 8A, which is V11, by the way, for the Yankee Doodles out there. And I already transformed this bowler into the next level bowler, making it a little bit harder, making it already towards something like 8A plus, V12, something like that. And I feel that my finger strength is going up really, really well, week after week. Now, as I said, I feel it's a little bit stalling out because I haven't really pushed my hangboard numbers recently. But yeah, I plan to break that plateau as well. And then we're going to definitely get closer to the 9A. The problem is rather, do I get to the project now, right? Because there's life responsibilities which I do have to meet as well. But in terms of power and fitness, I think actually I'm not that far off. Basically, if you can boulder 8A plus, you can climb 9A. It's simple as that. Even bouldering 9As, cruxes of bouldering, simple as that. Even bouldering 9As Cruxes of bouldering 9As won't be harder than 8A plus boulders, V12 or something. Yeah. Michael Punchochar, what's up, man? Welcome back to the stream. Your name is familiar. Because of weather, I didn't climb for 2 weeks. Did only max strength hangboarding. Today was the first climbing, and I had basically zero endurance. Yeah, this is something that happens if you only hangboard. How is it possible to lose it in only 14 days? Well, endurance is something that goes away super quickly and comes again super quickly. Yeah? We lose it very fast, we gain it very fast. This is also why I am personally not a big fan of training endurance, because if I have a climbing trip that lasts longer than 2 weeks, which I always do if I am on a trip, then I will get into the climbing back anyway, as the trip progresses. And not only that, I'm also gonna get accustomed to the style of rock, to the is it the endurance area, is it the bouldery area, whatever it is, I'm gonna get accustomed to it. And that's why I don't like so much endurance training. Endurance training is necessary, for example, if you're a competition climber and you need to have crazy freaking endurance on competition day. Well, then you have to do some endurance work building up for that, 2 weeks prior to that or something, at least. I mean, the good guys, they train endurance all the time, on plastic, which is something that I would rather not like to do. But that's what you have to put in if you want to be at the top when it comes to lead climbing competitions and stuff like that. Yeah, crazy endurance, man. But yeah, endurance is lost quickly and comes quickly. That's just how it is, man. Yeah, that's just how it is. It's on the one hand, it's a good thing. On the other hand, it's a little bit annoying that it goes away so quickly. Yeah. But I know this feeling, and interestingly, it's very prominent if you're coming off of a max strength cycle or something like that, or if you're coming off a bouldering trip or stuff like this, because you have this kind of new power. Then, hopefully, if the max strength cycle was somewhat successful, and you're taking every single hold a little bit harder than previously. Yeah. Plus, on top of that, you lost your endurance, which means that your forearms are gonna get pumped much, much faster. It's like a self-fulfilling thing, if you know what I mean. You're gripping down harder because you have more power, and then you also get pumped quicker. As then you coming back into the flow of lead climbing, you learn again that you don't need to grip so hard. You're gonna take it easy a little bit more. You get more vascularized again, and you get more endurance that way again. David Hansa says, I also lose endurance super quickly. Yeah, that's because endurance comes and goes quickly. KGB says, endurance comes and goes quick. Exactly. Paul Tanner says, such a good response. You mean to the, I'm not going to be Pirmin Bertles belay bitch. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But I think he's set for that. He has enough people for that. Miguel Armino says, that's a new name, I think. Huh? Welcome to the stream, man. You're not so familiar. Have you ever tried a double training session in one day? For example, fingerboarding, weighted pull-ups, etc. in the morning, then around 6 to 8 hours rest, followed by a bouldering session in the evening. For me, this has helped a lot because I can train my fingers when I'm fresh and then do a max bouldering session in the evening. Because of the 6 to 8 hour rest, the morning sessions do not affect your evening session in a negative way. I would not necessarily agree to that, especially when hangboarding prior to a bouldering session. If the hangboarding session was high quality, I will definitely feel it. Okay, I will definitely have less power on that bouldering session, which is why if I do hangboarding and bouldering on the same day, I do the hangboarding in the evening and the bouldering in the morning, because I want to get quality climbing moves. For me, the climbing is always number one when it comes to importance, and then comes the hangboarding. And the hangboarding is, I tell you, for me now, doing a bouldering session and a hangboarding session on the same day with this home wall is pretty freaking hard, because this home wall is just so intense, man. this home wall is essentially like hangboarding. I mean, when I am hangboarding on my board and cranking down full gas so that my face gets like crazy weird and everything, this is how I climb on this thing all the time. Every single move like that, it's like it's amazing, it's wonderful, beautiful. But to reiterate that, after this kind of training, my fingertips are sore on the inside. This is how much pressure they get from these kind of crappy, bad, small holes. And then to go with these sore fingertips on the hangboard and crank down fully onto these sore fingertips, that's pretty painful actually. So now these days it actually gets pretty hard to do both of it in one day. I have to hold myself back a little bit on the home wall if I want to do that, because if I go full balls to the walls on the home wall, I'm not gonna hit the hangboard afterwards in the evening because it's gonna hurt on the fingertips. And on top of that, there is no max strength left then anyway. So for me, it doesn't really make sense to train that kind of thing if I'm not able to go to my limit. I'd rather spend the time resting, doing something else, and recovering, and being able to do the next session sooner. The next proper quality session. That has been my approach, but this is dependent on where you are in your development as a climber. I suppose that if you are in the midterm, somewhere there of your development, I did this as well a lot. I did a lot of bouldering in the morning, hangboarding in the evening, hangboarding in the morning, bouldering in the evening, campus boarding, bouldering, hangboarding, whatever. Crazy mix, like a salad, okay? A mixed, proper salada mista. Mixed salad of climbing exercises, however I should call it. Not really directed, not really smart in any way. I could afford it, okay, because I had energy out the ass, and I was not maxed out so much as I am now. Now, if I go full balls to the walls, I need to, how should I say? I need to direct my energy a little bit smarter these days. Jean Ramsès says, hi, what's up, man? Welcome back to the stream, my friend. How are you doing? Jacob is on the stream again as well. What's up, man? How do you do? Since you asked, feeling pretty pissed. That doesn't sound good, my friend. I'm injured since half a year now. Visited 2 docs, no help at all. Yeah. The docs, man. Jacob, what's up? Let me just see. Lumbrical strain. Mona, bist du im Internet? Ja. Weil ich habe ein bisschen Connection Problems. Ich höre nur gerade in der Sprachnachricht, ich lade aber ich steige kurz aus. Lumbrical and injury treatment. Okay. This is something. Okay, this is something that's going on here, huh? Probably from an open hole or something like that. Look, I mean, my treatment strategy, right? For all of these kind of things, keep climbing below pain threshold and climb it away. Okay, climb it away. It can take years, bro. It can take years. Stuff like this can take years. If you're lucky, I think I have stuff in my elbow. Speaking about the elbow is getting better. I didn't feel it at all recently, so maybe it's gone now after 5 years or something, 4 years. The golfer here, in my left elbow. The ways of the injuries are strange. The ways of the injuries are strange, and docs are definitely not a lot of help. Most docs, that is. There is, I think, one doc in Austria, for example, which I think almost every climber goes to because he's a climber himself and he actually knows a bit of this stuff. But it's useless anyway, in my opinion. And my opinion, it's useless anyway because you cannot really... there are no shortcuts, okay? By going to a doctor, you're not going to heal anything faster. I don't know what people expect them to do. They swing some kind of magic wand or something onto their injury and now it's healing faster or something. What do you expect them to do? Are they gonna give you some sort of injection and it's gonna be better? All they can do really is give you painkillers and inflammation suppressants, yeah, which are both at most symptomatic treatments which at best do nothing. Worst outcome is that you're gonna react to them in some sort of negative way, and you're gonna increase inflammation. Actually, you're gonna increase some sort of immune response of your body. Yeah. So I don't really see the purpose in that. What I do all the time when it comes to this stuff is climbing below pain threshold, keep the tissue active, keep it, uphold its knowledge about what it's intended to do, and then this way, reactivate cell division, keep the blood flow going, keep the nutrients going to this area, and that way getting rid of it. And it can take forever, man. And I tell you something, just because it hurts here doesn't mean necessarily that this is even the problem area, okay? It can be that you kind of pinch the nerve down here somewhere or whatever, and for some kind of neurological reason it hurts for your brain. But in all actuality, the problem is down here or something. The reason for this is because the hand and forearm and stuff like this is extremely complex structures, man. It's very fine anatomy in a very small space crammed together, and a lot of stuff can go wrong there. Yeah? A lot of stuff can go wrong, and a lot of climbers, obviously, because they use these kind of areas so intensively. You might call it stupid, because why would you do it, right? But of course we love climbing, so why wouldn't we do it? But we use it intensively, and so a lot of stuff can go wrong, and it's not very understood. Yeah, even the best of their business, even all the physiotherapists and whatnot, can only really guess what's going on, and they earn a lot of money by giving you their advice, whether it's useful or not. Yeah, so be critical, and my approach. Yeah, and this has for me always worked for 11 years, 12 years of climbing now, probably. And I had a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of finger stuff, that is. Yeah, I think every finger apart from the pinky and the thumb on both hands 2 times at least. Yeah? And then there is some elbow stuff. Luckily no stuff with the shoulders, luckily no problems with knees or anything, but yeah, definitely fingers and elbows. Sorry to hear, Jacob, man. Good luck. Keep getting better. Yeah, climb it away slowly but surely. KGB says, hey Manny, for a max strength finger session, how many max hangs do you do per hand? What indicates when to stop the session? I think on average, I would say between 10 and 13, something like that. Something like these numbers. Yeah, between 10 and 13 hangs or something. And this actually includes warm-up almost, I would say. For a warm-up, you usually do some both-handed pull-ups. Then I do pull-ups where I already do put quite a lot of weight again. I do this 2 times to warm up, and then I already start with my one-armers. And I start at around like 12 kilograms of assisting weight on the pulley system. Yeah, this is my first one-armer. And then it goes very, very rapidly and quickly towards peak performance. I have to ride that wave correctly as well, because it doesn't really help if I am at peak performance and I'm putting like 12 kilograms on the pulley, because then the one-armer is going to feel easy as heck. I'm going to have to hit my performance peak and my least amount of loading weight at the same time, which is actually something that takes a bit of experience and feeling to feel that out. But anyway, then I'm approaching peak performance quite quickly, and I'm going down like 12 kilograms. Then I'm usually going at something like 8 kilograms. Then I'm going down to 7 kilograms, 6.5. And if I keep succeeding like that, I'm going down to 5.5 and even to 5, yeah, which is my record, my personal best. But yeah, as you can see, this already takes like 5-6 hangs or something to reach that. And then I can keep it up for like 2 or 3 hangs. And usually then performance is already going down again, which means that I don't manage to do the one armers, which means that I have to put more weight on the pulley again to assist my one armers. And then I'm maybe doing like 2 or 3 more, and then I'm stopping. Yeah. So if the curve goes down again, I'm stopping pretty quickly right afterwards. What I do for cooling down is going back on the hangboard again, doing a couple of both-handed pull-ups, and then that's it. There is no stretching involved or nothing sophisticated really. Yeah? It's really super simple. In total, I think like between 10 and 13 or 14 hangs per session. Yeah. And a hang is for me a one armor, and it's also 14 with both hands. Yeah, so in total it's 28 one armors then, if we divide it by 2 hands. Make Contact is on the stream again. What's up, man? How are you doing? Another familiar name. Make Contact says, "Hi Manny, I'm switching to keto to try to break my plateau and lose another 50 pounds, and I typically eat sweets at night. Sweets at night is pretty much the worst thing you can do. Yeah. What do you do with cravings for sweets? So if you're fully keto, not like this, 20, 30 grams of carbs a day is okay or something. No, okay. So you're at this point where you don't eat any carbs anymore. Then the cravings should go away after 2 weeks completely, actually. Yeah. So I am also a person that is pretty carb adapted. I usually do eat everything. As you might know, I'm coming from a past of a high carb vegan past. Okay. So I was basically eating no fat at all, because already back then I understood that plant oils giving me a lot of problems, and they do. Yeah, plant oils are not good. No human needs plant oils, yada, yada, yada. You know the story. Anyway, so I'm coming from a pretty carb adapted place. Yeah. What I found is that if I am reducing my carb intake to a certain point, like let's say it is 20, 30 grams of carbs a day, what's going to happen is I'm going to be always a little bit tired. This was my experience, because I would not let my body get out of this carb metabolism by always giving him a little bit of that sweets again. Okay. If you're giving him a little bit of those sweets again all the time, then it's going to think, okay, no, we're just short on carbs. We're just low on carbs at the moment. Maybe we get a little bit of carbs and we keep the body in carb metabolism, but you're constantly out of energy because you're eating so little carbs, and the fats that you're eating are not kind of getting metabolized properly. Once you get rid of carbs 100%, the fats get metabolized properly, and you should not feel any cravings anymore after 2 weeks. Yeah. This is what I felt on my zero plant experiment. That's what I should call it. Yeah, because it was not completely zero carb. Actually, completely zero carb is impossible, because even animal products contain some carbs, whether it's lactose or whether it's glycogen in the muscle meat or whatever it is. Yeah, some carbs are always present. So you can't go zero carb, as they usually call it, but you can go zero plant. This is what I experienced with that. So what I would do if you have cravings for sweets is exclude all carbs and be completely, ridiculously strict with that. Yeah. And after 2 weeks, it should be no problem anymore. Now, the thing is, losing weight with keto is one possibility. Yeah, but it's only one option of a couple, in my opinion. The lightest I ever was, I was on a somewhat high carb vegan diet. Yeah, I also did a lot of fasting during that period already, but being completely carb adapted and vegan and an athlete at the same time is definitely what gave me the lightest body that I actually had during adulthood, I think. Yeah. which is around 62, 63 kilograms. And when I would fast, I would go down to 62, 61, even 60.5 and stuff like this. Yeah, crazy low for my body weight. Now I am at around 68, something like that, 67, 68, yeah. So this is me eating everything now and not really restricting anything. Yeah, just by doing a lot of athletics and stuff like this, I'm not blowing up or something. Yeah, but you can do that. Yeah, you can become really carb adapted, do a lot of sports, do a lot of athletics, and shred down that way. Just simply not eating any fat. In this mode, there is this saying: the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And this is actually true if you are carb adapted. I'm pretty convinced that is. Why? Because if you're carb adapted, you are also very, very insulin sensitive. And fats in that mode kick you out of this insulin sensitivity. What happens if you exclude all carbs and only eat fats is that actually you're becoming artificially insulin resistant. Talked about this previously. Selective insulin sensitivity. This is when the body only has so little carbs that it's creating its own carbs by gluconeogenesis. And then these little carbs actually need to go to the right organs that actually need them, which is your red blood cells, your adrenals, some cells of your brain. They are obligate carbivores, okay? They need carbs. So your body actually upholds a certain amount of blood sugar all the time for these organs. But so that the sugar actually arrives in these organs and not in your whole musculature and stuff like that, your muscles have to become somewhat insulin resistant, if that makes sense, so that the sugar actually ends up in the right organs. And this is what you then can expect, yeah? What happens then is that all of these muscles and stuff like this run on fats instead and on ketones to some degree. But people always confuse fat metabolism with ketosis, yeah? Just because you're eating a lot of fats doesn't necessarily mean that all of your body has to burn ketones to get rid of this fat. You have a very normal way as well to burn ketones, which is called beta oxidation, I think. Yeah. So your body can burn fat without the need of ketosis. The need for ketosis is also just there because the body needs to somehow bridge that gap. Mainly because of the brain, actually, because the brain actually runs a lot on sugar. If sugar is present, if it's not present, then the brain can run on ketones instead. And the brain kind of needs quick energy like that. Yeah? It needs quick energy. It needs something that can pass through the blood-brain barrier, and ketones just fulfill both of these criteria very well. Yeah, so that's so to say a little bit of a survival tool of your body, so that the brain can still run on a very high level and does not suck away all the blood sugar for those other organs, yeah, that I talked about. That's why we have ketosis in the body. But the rest of the body can pretty much run on ketones and beta oxidation, yeah, which is just a normal breakdown of fats in your body. And this is what should happen if you're, 2 weeks away completely from all carbs. Then you're going to burn fats. And then what you can do, and this is another way of losing weight, and probably the more healthy way now in hindsight, yeah, looking at it, you're going to fast a little bit. You're going to get into a little bit of a calorie deficit and just simply keep the body running on fat. And if you have fat on your body, you're not going to even feel as if you're now in any sort of survival mode or stuff. Yeah? If you're getting into a calorie deficit, because metabolically speaking, for your body doesn't really change anything. Yeah. It doesn't need to change anything. It's burning fat if you eat something, and it's burning fat if you stop eating. Yeah, namely your body fat. It's burning then. So that's another way of losing weight. Yeah, if we got the carb adapted thing with a lot of athletics and very little fat intake, then we got the other side of the spectrum, a lot of fat and zero carbs to keep off the carb cravings and to keep you in that fat burning mode. Carbs in this state will actually make you tired. Yeah, where it's the fats in the carb adapted mode that make you tired. It's the carbs in the fat adapted mode that make you tired, because it kicks you out of this specific metabolism. Yeah? Funny experiments like that. And then we also have, of course, the beautiful thing with eating frequency. Yeah? Eating frequency is another tool that you can use to lose weight in any diet. also by eating everything, which is what I'm doing now. Yeah. If I go 1 meal a day for a week and combine that with a lot of sports, with a lot of athletics, I'm gonna lose weight. Yeah, I'm gonna lose weight definitely with the amount of training that I'm doing. I can't even get as much calories in as I would need, especially now in the cold season, to hold my weight like that. Yeah, so something like 1 meal a day, maybe skip a day, okay, do a 48 or stuff like that. This is gonna shred you down as well, regardless of what you're eating. Yeah. So there is many ways to weight loss, so many actually that you kind of ask yourself how it's even possible for people to become that obese. Yeah? It's fascinating. But yeah, in the era of processed food and everything, all of this is very possible. Jordan Heller says, any reason why not to train endurance other than the fact that it isn't fun? Yeah, it comes very quickly. This is the reason why you don't need to train it. If you're on a climbing trip, for example, that is 3 months long, well, you're gonna get your endurance in the first 2 weeks, and then you're cruising. Yeah? So there is not really a need for it for me. That is, if I'm doing this long climbing trips, to train it. Of course, if your climbing trip is only 2 weeks long, well, then you have to maybe, if you want to be smart, then you gotta build up to the climbing trip a little bit. 2 weeks before that, doing some endurance training, and then you don't need to get adapted anymore on the trip, and you can start ticking off limit projects instantly. You don't have to wait until you're adapted again. Yeah, but yeah, it's not fun at all, especially on plastic. I'd rather like to fall a couple more times on real rock endurance-y pieces, instead of falling in a gym and breathing all the dust and everything. Out in the fresh air in nature, it's a lot better. So I really, if I'm going into a gym, it's mostly for bouldering. Yeah, and now not even that anymore, because I have the home wall. The home wall kind of ticks that box for me. Mario Kulma is back on stream. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Gustav Nordvik. Oh, that's a new name. Okay, welcome to the stream, my friend. What's poppin'? My climbing gym closed temporarily. Yeah, I know that story. So I am left with my hangboard and a small gym. Well, and a small gym? That sounds not too bad. You can do a lot with a hangboard in a small gym. A small gym, I guess you mean a couple of weights and stuff like that instead of a climbing wall, a proper one. In that case, I would recommend you to simply build a very, very small wall. It's funny, man. Like most people, I think, would have space for a very, very small wall. Most people do not really expect, though, that you can actually do a lot with a very, very small wall. That's the thing, yeah. This wall here, I would exchange it with, I would rather have this wall than a 20-meter lead climbing wall, okay? I would rather have this wall. This is so much better. It's not sanded. It's pure power. The holes are just perfectly. I have designed them myself, yeah. So I can customize them towards my needs, which is just pure finger strength divided by body weight, right? So I want to have small holes that I have to hold super actively, which means they have to be sanded down. They have to be smooth. No skin, nothing that costs you skin and stuff like that. And this is awesome. And this is just beautiful, man. I would not give this wall away for 30 meters of lead climbing, plastic lead climbing, that is. Yeah. What you should do is hangboard, man, if you can, and go outdoors if that's still allowed, where you live. Hangboard indoors, go outdoors climbing, go outdoor bouldering. Then you don't need any climbing gym anyway. Supple 1N is back on the stream. I think I've seen you as well before. Hey, Manny, what's up? Yeah, man. It's going pretty well, my friend. How are you doing? When lowering with a Grigri, the rope gets curled up. Not necessarily. I didn't notice it with an ATC in the past. Is there any trick on how to use the Grigri so the rope doesn't get twisted so much? Yes. First of all, what you can do is don't use a super thick rope. Usually, I think this happens on the Grigri with super thick ropes. And what you should also do as well is have the rope on the right side of your body, okay? Then it's coming from the right. it goes through this kind of loop, okay, that you have when you're holding the Grigri down and you're trying to give out slack and everything. Then you have a loop going through your belaying hand, and then it goes in over this metal lip. It goes into the Grigri, right? This is how you should have your rope. Nothing like coming from the left and then somehow curling around the Grigri and then going into the Grigri and going up or stuff like that. Rope to the right, coming from the right into the Grigri, going properly through the loop and then going up, through the loop and then going up. And this way you're gonna prevent twisting when lowering. In my opinion, it doesn't necessarily happen. It happens on new ropes because they have some sort of twist in there from the factory anyway. It happens on very thick ropes sometimes because they tend to get twisted in the Grigri because there's so much friction. But if you have a decently thin rope and you place it properly, I think it shouldn't necessarily happen. Mekterbus, aka Milan. Supple 1N. Don't let the rope flow over the side of the Grigri. Let it go straight through the front of the Grigri. I wouldn't necessarily do that because it's a little bit more unsafe. Again, if you get it out like this in a loop like that, it's hard to explain. You get it into a field, but you should apply any torsion like that. If that makes any sense. Torsion is what twists ropes, and if you've got a problem like that, you usually feel it. Incypher is on the stream again. What's up, man? How are you doing? Sorry, I'm too late. Anyways, servus everyone. What's going on, man? How are you doing? We're having a pretty cool live stream here, I must say. Interesting questions. Very climbing focused as well. No conspiracy theories so far. Guess my tab back on the stream. What's poppin', bro? How are you doing? Moin Manny and fam. Thanks, man. I'd only contact if you can't let go of sweets at Eve. Maybe you want to try artificial sweeteners. No. Like stevia or erythrit. Do this all the time, like in plain yogurt. The artificial sweets question. The artificial sweets question. I mean, I never tried them myself because I'm not a big fan of artificial sweets because I think they taste actually different than real sugar, than the real thing, and then it's kind of off-putting to me. But a lot of people have actually reported that with artificial sweeteners, you cannot get rid of your cravings for sweets. You cannot, because they trigger the same hormones, the same kind of body reactions that would get triggered if you would eat real sweets. That's the problem. So we've got our senses there, our neurons on the tongue, and when they taste something sweet, they're gonna release the dopamine again. They're gonna release the hormones again that are connected with this kind of event. And your body also actually secretes the gastric juices and secretes the pancreas juice and everything that it needs to digest carbs from artificial sweeteners, okay? Because artificial sweeteners release these kind of reaction, just like real sugar does. So it's... and that's why people drinking Diet Coke are also obese, because they trigger their appetite with this kind of stuff. And then you kick yourself into the sugar addiction again. And what are you doing then? Of course, the next thing you do is you're grabbing something that it really has calories. Yes, of course, you're not going to gain weight from Diet Coke, Maybe you could, who knows, with these kind of hormone releases and stuff like that. Insulin goes up, I'm pretty sure, as well, even only through artificial sweeteners. And high insulin is, connected with weight gain because it's a storing hormone. I've talked about that in the past as well. But artificial sweeteners is not a good idea if you want to get rid of your sugar addiction. That's what I have the impression. I haven't experimented with that myself, but I know people who did. And it's a struggle with artificial sweeteners. It's a lot better to simply let go of them completely And after 2 weeks, your body has adjusted hormonally and metabolically speaking, and the cravings should go away. Yeah. Gasmatab says one more time, or just switch to nuts and stuff. Yeah, nuts. I mean, be careful with the nuts, because nuts have a decent amount of carbs as well. Yeah, some of them do, at least, especially cashews, for example. Cashews have a ridiculous amount of carbs. So with cashews, you can definitely kick yourself out of ketosis. Yeah, so be aware. What I said before was that you should not eat anything sweet. Yeah, because only then you're gonna get rid of this addiction, and you're gonna actually let the body adjust. Jacob says, yeah, I tried climbing it away for 4 months, but nothing changed. That's unfortunate, man. So I try the rest approach now, since I don't have too much injury experience. As I mentioned, that's also not working. So I'm a bit baffled right now. And it's really frustrating. I totally share your opinion on injury treatment. And yes, I know your approach. Thanks for your encouraging words. That's what I needed to hear. Yeah, man, you're gonna get better, 100%. It's just a question of time. Yeah, and as I said, the probability that there are actually any shortcuts is very limited. Okay, probably we need to go through these. Once you rip something up like this, you have to go through a certain time period, and when it's over, it's over. Yeah, and no doctor can shorten the time. No physiotherapist can shorten the time. This is something that you have to go through yourself. The best you can do is keep the tissue going. Yeah, keep it active, keep the blood flow going. This way, do everything to help the tissue help itself. Yeah, this is what you can do. MC the Bus, aka Milan, says, how would you do hypertrophy training on a hangboard? Repeaters. Hypertrophy training on a hangboard is repeaters. Yeah, you can call it power endurance, you can call it strength endurance, you can call it hypertrophy, whatever you will. In the end, it is repeaters. Why? Because you have a mediocre stimulus that is repeating itself a couple of times. This is classic hypertrophy training. 6 repetitions, 7 seconds on, 3 seconds rest, 7 seconds on, 3 seconds rest, until you're properly pumped out of your ass. And then you rest for a little bit longer, like 2-3 minutes, and then you do it again. And then do that for like 10 times per session, and you're roasted. Yeah, especially if you're not used to it. So that's repeaters, that's hypertrophy training. You should react to that with a muscle growth in your forearms. Yeah, and this is why I say this could be an interesting, switch up with max strength, because when you're stalling out on max strength, what you might need is just simply more malleable tissue to transform into max strength muscle, right? And then you have to first gain the tissue somehow and then strengthen it up. Gain some new tissue, strengthen it up. Gain some new tissue, strengthen it up. This is how it could theoretically work, right? But yeah, I must say I did not do any repeaters for a very, very long time, and I still feel super strong now just doing max strength. Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many approaches, man. KGB says, what kind of diet helps the most with strength gains in your experience? Definitely a diet that includes animal products. Yeah. Which kind of makes sense. It should make sense. But somehow it doesn't nowadays anymore. Nowadays people say like, oh, haven't you seen the Game Changers? In the Game Changers, everybody eats only vegan and they break all the records. Yeah, they do that for 1-2 years maybe, and then it's going downhill. What they essentially doing is they go into a complete carb adaptation, because that's what you have to do if you want to be an athlete and vegan. You smash carbohydrates left, right, and center. So you're going to make your body super carb adapted. You're going to get super shredded. So any little fat that they have as athletes on their body is going to go away. Their strength per body weight ratio goes up actually. And this works so long until the first deficiencies kick in, yeah? And then you're gonna actually lose. You're gonna lose motivation. You're gonna lose drive. You're gonna lose. This is actually what goes down first, and then maybe you lose a tooth. You get little teeth problems like that. You get skin issues and stuff like that. You get digestive issues. These are all things that set in a bit later into this process. But first of all, you're going to feel a little bit of a boost, of course, because you're smashing carbohydrates left, right, and center, and you're going to get super carb adapted, going to get super insulin sensitive. And this is usually something that's actually good for athletic performance. Yeah, it's not healthy for longevity and stuff, but it's good for athletic performance, which again shows us that something that's good for athletic performance does not necessarily mean it's healthy. And people conflate that all the time. Yeah, people think that when they see someone who's just super fit and climbs 9B and is super shredded, that this person must necessarily be super healthy at the same time. But this does not necessarily have to be the case. Yeah, I would say I was a lot healthier, or I am a lot healthier actually now that I'm eating everything again compared to my vegan days. Although I was a lot lighter in my vegan days, I was a lot skinnier, a lot more shredded, right? If you put me in front of a fitness dude, he would say, well, this is the better version of Manny because there's almost no fat on this guy, right? You can see every muscle and every little string popping. But is that healthy? I don't think so. Yeah, it's actually good that you have a little bit of fat on your body. And this comes with eating everything, yeah? So there is if you want to have some really good strength gains, what you do is you eat everything. You eat from the animal kingdom, you eat from the plant kingdom, and you eat your carbs. Yeah, your carbs are important as well because you need those proper reps, and you need to be able to do a couple of them. And this is something that is, I think, for me at least, only doable with carbs. I did the experiment myself. I was 10 weeks without any plants, yeah? And the most major symptom that I noticed in terms of athletic performance, in terms of max strength and the repetitions, also in terms of roots, right? Also endurance, it was pretty much the same performance that I had when I was previously eating everything and stuff like that. But I was not able to make as many attempts, for example, as I was able to do on carbs. And I suppose this is because carbs are just able to store, in principle, more energy in your body via glycogen stores. So, if you want to get your reps done, if you want to get your workouts in, and of course, this is all quite important when it comes to strength gains, right? Then you should eat your carbs, in my opinion, yeah. But you should also eat your protein to be able to rebuild those damages, yeah, to repair those damages that you did in your muscles, in your tendons, in your joints, and everywhere. So that's where the animal kingdom comes in, yeah. And both of that, there is a reason why strongmen and sumo wrestlers and all these kind of guys who are extremely strong, but also extremely massive, which is something that we don't actually want as climbers. But they are extremely strong and they eat everything. Yeah, they eat their carbs, their starches, and they eat their protein from the animal kingdom. Some meat, some fish, some cheese, stuff like that. Yeah, some eggs. So there is a reason for that. Yeah. Anything deviating from that is gonna make you probably a little bit lighter and maybe a little bit more shredded, but not stronger. Yeah? And you asked, what's up with the strength gains? The interesting question is for us climbers, what kind of diet produces the greatest finger strength divided by body weight value? Yeah. So what makes you very light but very strong at the same time, comparatively speaking? Of course, I am now stronger at 68 kilograms than I was at 62 kilograms, but I was 62 kilograms. I was 6 kilograms lighter. Yeah, I didn't need to be nearly as strong as I am now to pull something like 8A or 8A plus or something like that. So this is something that matters a lot when it comes to climbing. And if I was now 6 kilograms lighter with the same strength, I could guaranteed climb 9A. I throw that out there. It's a bold claim, but I could definitely I would feel freaking amazing on the wall, yeah, because I feel amazing on the wall right now already at 68 kilograms. Yeah, so there, this is how kind of weight and strength kind of behaves in terms of climbing. To get back to that, what produces the greatest finger strength by body weight ratio? Which kind of diet? I think it's actually a very high carb adapted vegan diet. Yeah? Very high plant, very little animal products. The animal products have just this tendency to make the body just more anabolic in general and make it heavier. Again, this is nothing that is unhealthy or anything. In fact, I think that to a certain degree, it is actually healthier than being super shredded. But it's definitely not useful for climbing. Yeah, for climbing, we want to be the marathoner. We want to be lean, shredded as F. Yeah? So again, something where we see that what's ideal for athletic performance deviates from what's ideal for long-term longevity and health. David Hanser says, I'm going to visit Athletscream in the spring. Do you think Streetfighter is flash friendly, or do you have other suggestions? Streetfighter is pretty flash friendly. If you know someone who has good beta for Streetfighter, go for it. It's very flashable, very short route, very readable from the ground, very visible from the ground. Okay, you can see the holds from miles away. So yeah, Streetfighter is definitely flashable. Other suggestions are, if you're at the level and you can flash 8A, I would try to flash. If you're at the level and you can flash 8A, I would try to flash out of work. No, back to work. Out of work or back to work? No, it's back to work. Back to work is the thing with the 2-finger pocket and the drop knee. Yeah, very flashable as well. Very flashable as well. But you need to have the level because it's 8A. It's kind of a cruxy 8A boulder at the beginning. Then you get a little bit of a rest, and then you still have to do a kind of sketchy sequence to the top, which if you get the chance for a proper flash, you need to have proper beta for this top out. Yeah. But if you get that, you have good cards. Ooh, our little candle is going down there already. Supple One says, thanks for the answer. If you ever run out of ideas for a video, maybe you could do one about ropes and other climbing gear. That would be really cool. Or are there already some and I just missed them? I didn't make videos about ropes. I didn't plan, but I want to do a video about how to cut a rope, which is a very important skill if you want to use a rope for a longer time, which is very crucial because ropes are expensive, right? So you want to get the most out of our ropes, and cutting a rope and how to properly do that is actually crucial for that. So I want to make a video about that, and maybe I talk also about ropes in general, what ropes I find good and stuff in that video. Let's see. But about ropes, I don't really have anything. I have something about my favorite belaying device, the Grigri 2, that is. Not the Grigri Plus, okay? The Grigri Plus is a lot worse than the Grigri 2, actually, which is fascinating. Yeah. But anyway, different story. What else had I? And other than that, in terms of gear, I made something about climbing shoes, obviously. Yeah, maybe I should talk a little bit about quick draws and ropes at some point. Yeah, good point, actually. Let's see, maybe I can get something done. Incypher says, to get a little bit out of climbing focus, I remember well your old vegan vids and the outro of Naruto, went by Akiboshi. Are you still into anime? Or were you ever into anime? Any recommendations? I watched Naruto. Not the whole thing. Okay, I think there is now Naruto Shippuden and whatnot. I also did not watch the original Naruto series to the end, but there was a time where I watched it when it would actually motivate me to train. Yeah, Naruto is a pretty motivating series like that. It's kind of this young guy who just is super psyched and super motivated and wants to become the best in the world, and nothing can stop him and stuff like that. And you see him train all the time. I like this kind of spirit. Okay, I like this kind of balls to the walls, no matter what, at all cost experience, and that energy. Yeah, I like it, and I liked also the jokes of the of the people and stuff. It's kind of a funny humor, I think. So yeah, it's just a funny series. Yeah, but it also costs a lot of time, and nowadays I don't watch any stuff like that anymore. Yeah, I used to watch, of course, Dragon Ball Z when it was kind of big. Yeah, I don't know actually if it's now still. I mean, I don't own a TV. Yeah, I haven't watched TV in like 10 years or something since I moved out. But back then when I watched, there was Dragon Ball Z, of course, which was amazing, very motivating as well. Things like these. Nowadays, I don't watch all of that stuff anymore because my time is just, I think, too valuable to me now. I also used to play video games quite a lot, actually, and it motivated me as well to go to the gym and stuff, especially in the time I remember back in the days when I did Shaolin Kung Fu still, and only started to get a glimpse of climbing, and that it's actually awesome because, as you know, I started just by 3 years in the gym solely. So I didn't even know what I was training for, that it's actually the outdoors where it was at, for me at least, and stuff like this. So, and for motivating me to go to the gym and everything, a good episode of Dragon Ball Z or a good episode of Naruto, that was where it's at, man. That was where it was at, I should say. Or a little bit of League of Legends playing or whatever. Could work, could also not work, could get you addicted as well, and you keep watching or you keep playing and then you skip the session, right? It really depends on your constitution that day. But I used it as a motivation tool. That's pretty much it. And now, yeah, I don't watch it anymore. Funny how that changes. Paul B is back on stream. Finally. Welcome back, my friend. How are you doing? Hey man, it finally made it into a stream. Awesome to see all your uploads again. I bet you mentioned in the first stream you were back, but you made it private. Did you move away from Austria? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Despite all the conspiracy theories, I'm still here in Austria, enjoying the show. Enjoying the show. Noah, I found a pretty cool place, I think. I found a pretty cool place here in Austria, and let's put it that way. I just hope that the worst conspiracy theories that I know are not gonna come true, and it's only the mediocre ones, which I already know. Okay, that's not gonna be too bad if they are true, and maybe they are, but yeah. I'm still in Austria. I found an awesome place. It's a great place to have a family and stuff. I mean, you have to be aware. Austria is awesome. Yeah, Austria had the potential to be the best country in the world to live in. I say that like this right away, without any bad remorse or anything. The diversity that you have in Austria in terms of landscapes, beautiful, of the beauty of the landscapes as well, and also the people. The people, how they are really friendly and very down to earth, and they've got a good sense of humor. They are also really relaxed and everything. This makes Austria awesome. Yeah, Austria has just a lot of awesome characteristics like that. It is, unfortunately, though, a very, very developed, very, very civilized, very, very domestically, very domestic civic area, so to say. It's very, very Western, very, and therefore developments that go into the direction of New World Order, or however you want to call it, are pushed full force, of course, here in Austria as well. And that's the disadvantage. Yeah. I weigh the pros and cons, and I think that being in Austria is still a very, very good option for me at this point in time, and for my family, definitely. We're going to see how everything develops, and then we go from there. Yeah. What about you? Arlasetu says, I've had countless golfers and tennis elbows in both arms for 9 years. Sounds like you have your elbow is your weakness, and can only confirm to climb it away. Yeah, climb it away, man. It often takes much longer than 4 months. Absolutely. It took 4 years, I think, for me. And, if I flex this elbow at the right angle, I can still make it feelable a little bit. Yeah. So climb it away, man. And it's going to go away at some point. Paul B, on 1F, the last streams, you talked a lot about vaccines. Do you want your child getting vaccines? Greetings. Yeah, I've talked about vaccines, I think, in the second to last stream. Because somebody asked whether I would get vaccinated, and I said no. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of vaccines. I can reiterate why that is the case here now again. Just to preface this a little bit, okay, I studied biology. I know how vaccines work. I also get the medical importance. I understand herd immunity, blah, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I just cannot get myself to believe 100% that everything that's out there in terms of a virus, not even speaking about the fact that there is a lot of scientists out there that disagree with the virus infectious disease theory altogether, and they also have very good and very valid points. But letting that aside, let's say that there are viruses out there and they infect us and they cause symptoms and problems, and even some people die of these viruses. I cannot get myself to believe that something like this is inherently bad and only out there to kill us. Especially when it comes to childhood diseases, which is diseases that the very young get very regularly on a very regular basis. I think that it also has a lot to do with educating the immune system, with giving it certain informations fitting to the geographical area, to the geographical entities where these human beings grow up. Which is why we see a lot of problems when people go abroad and vary into a completely different geographical entity, and then they get the local diseases from there, just like the other way around. When somebody brings local diseases from somewhere to another place in the world, which, for example, the Spaniards made, when they conquested the Americas and everything, they killed a lot of people there, not because they shot around like crazy dudes. Maybe they did that as well, but they brought the flu and everything. So that killed a lot of people off there completely because it was a foreign disease. So anyway, inside of the geographical entity where people belong, I don't think that diseases are just out there to kill them. I think that they are in somewhat of a balance with the population there and with the animals around. And if they would kill all of these creatures off in a second, well, then they would have no reservoir anymore, right? So that would be completely stupid of them. There is always a balance between these kind of things. I'm playing around with a mono that I built myself, by the way, here. Okay. Mona just told me that she's gonna have a bath now. So yeah, just a little side detail here. But anyway, I don't find myself believing that story, that there is this evil stuff out there, which we cannot see and we cannot sense it, of course, but it's evil and we have to get vaccinated to be protected from it. I think that there is some sort of purpose for also these childhood diseases, especially because they educate the immune system and they make it fitter for what's coming at them, which is adulthood, right? So I don't see a lot of purpose in vaccinating children against that. And even if it was that these viruses are that they are out there, first of all, and they are inherently bad and they just kill people off for no reasons, just for fun. Even if that was the case, then we could still say it is actually quite unethical to vaccinate people against these viruses, because what we are doing is we're creating stronger and stronger and stronger viruses. Because these viruses, of course, mutate, right? They mutate, they adapt, they attack where they can. If you're vaccinated against one thing, but then they attack just simply from another corner, right? They adapt, and then, of course, the flu virus changes every year anyway. So every year they have to bring out a new vaccine. Oh, how unpractical for the pharma industry, right? And then there's all kinds of issues with that. Yeah, you get my point here. Even if that was the case, yeah, even if they would be inherently bad, I say I want to give every individual out there the chance to prove themselves for themselves without help, okay? And to prove that they've got what it takes to survive being on this realm, being on this planet, and enjoying life to the fullest. Yeah, there's no need to bypass natural selection like that. Natural selection is something awesome. Okay, it keeps up fitness of the single individual, and we've seen loss of fitness when it comes to single individuals for centuries already. Yeah. And this is only going to accelerate that to a great degree. And here I'm not even talking about all the allergies and all this kind of stuff that's through the roof nowadays. So if all of this stuff was so helpful and was so amazing, was such a new, cool medical invention, would we not see all this stuff declining? Would we not see people getting healthier and fitter? But what happens in reality? People get unfitter and unhealthier. They get more allergies. They becoming more and more snowflakey. Each generation is going into that direction more and more. Yeah. So I don't feel that it's something good. Simply, yeah. This is. I don't see any reason for it. So I want to get my child into an age where they can decide for themselves. And then they can decide for themselves, yeah. And until then, I'm not gonna expose them to a guaranteed collateral damage, which is what you get when you take a vaccine. Because if you take a vaccine, you also gonna take all the preservatives. You also gonna take all the heavy metals and whatnot is in that kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of that stuff comes possibly from China as well. And now, especially, with increased speed of getting the stuff into the market, because imagine how much money is involved here, yeah. And this is taken out on the back of the population, yeah. So get educated or get medicated. That's how it always was, and that's how it is nowadays as well. Okay, get educated or get medicated. Yeah. Babs Soto says, how's the training going? Are you focused on roots or bouldering at the moment? Definitely more bouldering. Yeah, definitely more bouldering with the home wall here, and also outdoor bouldering, actually, which is sometimes possible. Unfortunately, not at the moment, because it's just super ugly and moist and cold outdoors. Cold wouldn't be a lot of an issue, but the moistness is not very fun. Jean says, do you think it's good to do both repeater and max strength in the same week? Or is it better to do one long cycle for each? Theoretically, when it comes to training theory, it should be better to do one long cycle for each. And here I would go with like 4 weeks repeaters, 4 weeks max strength, 4 weeks repeaters, 4 weeks max strength, something along these lines. But in general, I would keep doing one thing until you stop improving in that thing. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're in an upwards trend like that and then you're letting it fall off. Yeah, you're gonna keep riding the upwards trend until it flattens off, and then you're gonna leave trying something else, pushing that upwards trend, let the other thing sink down a bit, and then pick it up again and push it even higher and push it even higher. Yeah. Paul Picker says, Servus Manni, denkst du, bist weit von 9a entfernt, LG Paul? Actually, I'm getting quite close. The question is, how far am I from 9A? I've got this question already once during the live stream today, right at the beginning. Look, I mean, finger strength is over the top at the moment. We've got a lot of bouldering power from the home wall. It's going great, man. It's going great. I think I'm actually pretty close. I just need a project that is approachable, yeah, because my project that I had in mind is quite far away at the moment, and it's just hard to, with a very young family, go there. Possibly it's wet anyway, right? So I need something that is in the area. But there is possibly stuff that is in the area, right? And we're going to hit that. We're going to hit that instead. Andreas Klingler, what's going on? Hey, Manny, what do you think of training for climbing not in the climbing gym, but in a regular gym? I feel it helped me, but I climb on a lower level than you. I would have the feeling that the exercises that I could do in a regular gym would rather make me heavy in areas that I don't really need so much for climbing. Yeah, therefore, I think at my point where I'm at in my climbing, it would rather make me weaker. I can almost feel like if I'm doing too much calisthenics, okay, which is something that is very climbing-like actually, because it's only working with body weight, it's only body strength, core strength a lot. If I do too much of this stuff, I get heavier, and I can feel that. So the only place, in fact, where we want to be heavy as climbers is the forearm. Everything else should be stick figure mode, okay? Stick figure legs, stick figure upper body, stick figure shoulders, even stick figure upper arms. You don't need a lot of bicep there, yeah? What you need is the freaking forearm. There you want to have the musculature and the brachioradialis and all that good stuff. And lats maybe, okay? Maybe a little bit of lats as well. Good amount of lats can't hurt, right? It's good for the ladies as well. But anyway, so we want to have the forearms, man, and everything else we can actually spare. And I have the feeling in a regular gym, I could not really get that. Yeah? In a regular gym, I would rather get beefy all around. And this is actually something that is to be avoided if you want to reach your genetic potential, that is, when it comes to climbing performance. Yeah. But hey, cool. If it's helped you, what did you do in this kind of gym? What kind of curls or bench press or whatnot? That would be interesting. And from what grade to what grade did you improve? Paul B says, thanks, mate. I'm also doing good. Meanwhile, I accepted the crazy stuff going on and coming to peace with myself. That sounds absolutely epic, my friend. Moving near Innsbruck soon. Oh, nice. I get your point. Everything has its purpose. I look at it from permaculture point of view. Oh, nice. Do you see a big change in our society coming, like a positive change with more awareness? Yeah, definitely. That's actually an interesting point about this whole development. And what do you think about tattoos? Also conservatives and heavy metals, I think. Also conservatives and heavy metals. Yeah, tattoos are pure toxic, man. Pure toxins. Would highly not recommend it. So there we got the tattoo question out of the way right away. Do you see first of all, cool that you're moving to Innsbruck, man. Why? You studying there or what? What's your plan? You want to do permaculture maybe? Be interesting. Do you see a big change in society coming? Yeah. Like it's a positive changing. there is a positive side to this thing and a negative side. The problem is that what is happening as we speak now is that society divides more and more, more and more than ever before, probably. And they do this with topics like global warming, the big C. All this kind of stuff is very dividing because it essentially, and this is what we see now very much, it is essentially dividing the population into two groups, and which is the ones that buy it. And then there is an increasing group, an ever increasing group of people who don't buy it. Yeah, they just don't buy it anymore. Yeah, and I cannot judge them for doing that. I mean, as you know, if you watch the stream for a bit, then I'm also part of the latter group who doesn't buy it anymore. But it is divided like that, okay? And the funny thing is, though, that this group that I'm talking about, the group that doesn't buy it anymore, gets bigger and bigger. You would think that as the brainwash keeps going and keeps going longer and longer, that people become more and more adapted to it and become more and more brainwashed themselves. But the cool thing is, what we nowadays have and what people in our parent generation did not have is the internet. Yeah, knowledge from all sides was never so accessible as it is today. So back in the day, 30 years ago, you had to buy what you got through television. You had to buy from the mainstream media what they gave you. You had to, because there was no other option, right? You could read a newspaper, but they would just parrot what they said anyway. So you had to buy whatever they said. Now I have access to individual commentators from the US, from the Middle East, from wherever I want to go to, from China, yeah, and I can buy there directly. I can see it with my own eyes often, what they do, yeah, and this is how we can get nowadays. If you want to put the effort in, and if you've got a decent ability to select content, okay, because not everything that's out there on the internet is written in stone. Yeah, of course you have to select, but if you have this kind of ability, you can get nowadays a more accurate picture of truth than ever before. As a bold claim, probably, but it is true because it's the era of the internet. This is also why the internet is getting more and more censored like this. Yeah, sites like YouTube get more and more censored because they realize that it is an incredible, powerful tool of the people. This is something that keeps the people liberated, and not the dominating class, so to say. Yeah? It makes it harder for the dominating class to what's the word? I wouldn't say enslave, but we could call it enslave. Yeah, to enslave the population, which is always the battle. Inside of a civilized system, which we have nowadays, the system of nowadays is as civilized as it never has been before. Inside of a civilized system, there's always two parties that go against each other, which is the ruling class, and then there is the class that is ruled, okay? These two go against each other. Nowadays, it's like, I don't know, there's probably 0.1% of ruling class out there and 99.9% of class to be ruled. And the internet makes it harder to rule over these people. And it makes it harder to sell them certain stories, which is why it is getting heavily censored. Yeah. And inside of a civilized society, you're always going to have that. This is only not apparent inside of a tribalistic society, which is what would be very cool to see again. Yeah, a tribalistic society, although I am very aware that we can't go back to that now. And even in a tribalistic society, you had leaders and stuff, but leaders were not unreachable. Yeah? Leaders were very reachable. And if your leader in a tribalistic society would be an idiot, you just simply kick him off the position. Yeah. Simple like that. So this is a lot more, is a lot better regulated like that. Yeah. Inside of a civilized society, we've got a different story, and then of course we have democracy, which is so super good. Yeah, just another illusion of choice. Yeah, really. Such a deep topic, such an interesting topic. Yeah, such an interesting topic. Man, I could go on like this for an hour probably. I have to cut myself off at some point, otherwise I'm gonna get kicked off as well here. So gotta be a little bit careful here. Do you see a big change in our society coming? Yeah, the big change is that the group that doesn't buy it anymore gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, and the funny thing is that always in the mainstream media, they claim that this group is so small and so weak and they are irrelevant and stuff like that. So we see that, for example, US election, okay? Now, of course, there is the establishment candidate, which is Joe Biden, super obvious. And then there is the anti-establishment candidate, which is Trump. Although I would say that if you get into this position in the first place, becoming a US president, then you have to be selected for this position already, that you have a little bit of, you're not a people's man that anymore. Yeah, you're also working for the system. But that aside, there was clearly an establishment candidate here and an anti-establishment candidate, which was Trump. And so what the media did was, of course, they preached the story that the anti-establishment candidate, which is Trump, had no chance at all, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't even make sense. It's completely stupid. If you would have heard the media here in Europe going about this election, they're crazy. Yeah, like you would have thought that Trump doesn't stand a chance at all, man. Now, of course, I'm not watching mainstream media. I'm watching my individual commentator from the US. And this guy, of course, was very aware of the fact that there is a huge enthusiasm gap between Biden and Trump, and that Trump would mobilize a lot more people than they thought. And what happened on election day? Oh, Trump did a lot better than everybody thought. Oh, the polls were wrong again. Oopsie, oopsie. They try to sell you this story. Yeah? In fact, the group that doesn't buy it anymore gets bigger and bigger. And these are the Trump voters. And probably Trump actually won this election. Yeah, it's a bold statement here as well. But this election was fishy as stuff. If you're watching from the US, your democracy is tested right at the moment as we speak. Yeah, your democracy, your illusion of choice. But anyway, different story. Yeah, so then you have also the thing with the COVID thing. Yeah, here in Austria, we've got mass testing going on at the moment, and what they did before mass testing started, they said, oh my God, there is so many people enrolling for the mass tests. The internet sites crash all the time. So many people are going to get tested. Go test it as well. It's going to help us, yada, yada, yada. Now, what happens on testing day? Nobody goes there. The numbers are much lower than expected. So they always trying desperately to sell you that story that you're the strange dude if you don't buy it anymore. You're an outlaw. You're alone. No, you're not alone. You're not alone. Okay, the group that doesn't buy it anymore is huge, and it's becoming huger every day. And as the internet, and this is another interesting thing that we see nowadays, the internet is decentralizing itself at the moment because it realizes, okay, on the big mainstream sites, there's a lot of censoring going on. So what happens is that new tech sites pop up left, right, and center. Yeah. And they soak up all that outflux from the mainstream sites like YouTube and stuff like that. And they only gonna grow. And what can they do then? If there is so many different video platforms, well, they can censor one, but they cannot censor all of them. And this is actually what I see is a good development at the moment. The decentralization of the internet, making it independent also via Bitcoin, yeah, making it even independent from a state-regulated money, yeah. Having free money out there. This was like 20 years ago, this would have been utopia. Yeah? People would have called that utopian. Now it's reality. Yeah? So decentralization like that is a good thing. It makes people more independent. It makes them less controllable. And this is actually something good. Yeah? This is actually something good. It's a positive change in the wake of this whole negative happenings that's happening. But yeah, people should realize that they are split apart, and unite again. Yeah, unite again. And Cypher says, Manny, any tips to improve my drop knee force? I feel quite weak pressing back with my foot against the wall. Interesting. Try to improve this with daily mobility routines. Any other tips? What you can train is the side abs, okay, the lateral abdominal muscles. They are actually quite at play when it comes to drop knees. The more you turn, the more you twist, the more you're actually putting stress on your lateral abdominals. Yeah. And there was a time when I did train for a human flag, which is an exercise that hits the lateral abdominals completely and full force. And I could feel it on the drop knees, especially in the overhang, that I was, sucking my body a little bit more efficiently towards the wall. Yeah, but this may be a little bit of it's a very minute difference here. But yeah, stuff like this, yeah, lateral abdominals. And other than that, I really can't think of anything else apart from like doing a lot of drop knees, for example. Of course, this is going to get you better at drop knees as well. Mobility, not so much, because drop knees do not really require a lot of mobility per se, I would say. But yeah, that's my point on that. Paul B says, again, why you want a strong brachioradialis? It's a flexor, or am I wrong? No, it's an adductor, I think. Is that the opposite of a flexor? I'm not sure. It's the muscle that kind of connects the forearm and the upper arm. Yeah. So it's kind of it's. I think the main purpose is actually pronation or stuff like that. But it's very, very important for climbing somehow. It's gotta be, because all the good climbers really have a very prominent brachioradialis. It also has something to do with muscle attachments and stuff like that. I realize that, but yeah, it's definitely not wrong to have a lot of that stuff going. Solid G says, hey Manny, been climbing for a year and 1 month now. Just did a couple of V8 on the moonboard. Congrats, that's not bad. 2016 and can flash V6 on the board. I just did 87 lbs pull-up and 54 lbs on the small edge on the Beastmaker 1. Both-handed or one-handed? It helped a lot, the biceps in the contraction, I think, the brachio. Yeah, true. I think so. I think so too. It's the contraction here definitely is involved. What can I do to get stronger? I'm basically only moonboarding and want big gains. I weigh 135-ish and I am 5'10". I would love any tips. So 5'10" is amazing height, first of all. 135-ish, is that amazing? Let me think. That is definitely below 70 kilograms, I think, or around 70, which is good as well for your height. Could be lighter, probably. You always could be lighter if you look at the very light guys, but not healthy, but good for athletic performance. So not kind of recommended. But if you want to make big gains, I would love any tips. I climb 3 days a week and train 1 day. Dude, I cannot find any mistake in your approach, to be honest. I mean, moonboarding, first of all, is amazing. And moonboarding is also amazing training for the outdoors, because you get small holds, you get crappy holds, big moves. That's good. Obviously, you're already incorporating hangboard to a certain degree. Otherwise, you wouldn't know your numbers on the Beastmaker. I would say get the... on the small edge on the Beastmaker 2000, you say in brackets 1. Does this mean one-handed? Damn, just the chat jumped down. Wait, I need to find it again. I can't really find any mistake in your approach, man. I mean, if you can flash V6 on the board, this is already pretty good. If you did a couple of V8 on the moonboard You mean the 2016 setup, okay? V8 is, let me think real quickly here. So V11 is 8A, V10 is 7C plus, V9 is 7C, V8 is 7B plus. This is pretty good on a moon board. A moon board is often, did you do the benchmark problems or did you do only the normal 7B plus problems? Because if you did benchmark 7B plus on the moon board, this is pretty freaking strong already. I don't see any mistake in your approach. Keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, it's working. Yeah. 3 days a week, train 1 day, amazing. You get a lot of outdoor meters in, wonderful. Do outdoor bouldering, okay? Outdoor bouldering. This is where the gains really are at. Yeah. Moonboard is good, is already amazing, but outdoor bouldering is the gold standard, I would say. Andreas Klinger, for the forearms, I just use a long bar and spin it forward using both hands. Creates a great pump in the forearms, also a lot of core exercises. Yeah, good stuff. Paul B says, renting a house with some friends there. And look what's coming our way. But the dream is to be more or less self-sufficient one day. That sounds amazing. The C censorship is enormous. Was that also before C? Yeah, but only regarding different topics. Yeah, different topics. For example, if you have climate change skeptics and stuff like that, this was getting censored big time and still is getting censored to this day in the science community and everywhere else. Yeah. Now, whether we should get into that or not is a different story. Yeah? I mean, it's a completely different problem. Actually, I think that personally, if you want to have my opinion, a lot of the consequences that the big C had on, for example, plane travel and stuff like that, I personally agree with that. I find it amazing. I find it amazing that the sky is not full of clouds anymore now due to planes all the time cruising. Yeah. The flying industry is definitely decimated. Yeah, whether that's a good thing or not, I think it's good that people are forced to stay in their geographical entity a little bit more than earlier. Yeah, I think actually that's a good thing. You come to appreciate where you live a lot more if you actually have to stay there and have to adapt to these circumstances that you are. And I'm a big fan of going by car. If I go to Greece now and having a climbing trip, I'm definitely going to drive there by a freaking car. It's a lot more amazing that way anyway. Why would I fly for 2 hours if I can drive for like 30 hours? Is that not fast enough, man? 30 hours to Greece. This would have been a lifelong trip just 200 years ago or something. Yeah. And nowadays we F around because of 30 hours. Come on, yeah. So I think it's a good thing that, for example, stuff like, these boomer luxuries things like flying is getting decimated, or at least it's getting a lot more effortful and expensive. And I think that's a good thing. Regardless now whether this has an impact on climate change or what else. Maybe you have seen a couple of other streams of mine, and you know my opinion on climate change and everything. Climate change is real. The climate is always changing. It has always been changing. Look, a couple of 1,000 years ago, there was a lot more CO2 in the atmosphere and it was a lot colder. Yeah, so to say that CO2 is connected with the Earth's temperature is quite a big stretch. And this is also something that is very in line with studies of biology and stuff like that. One algae bloom in the Pacific soaks up as much CO2 as like 10 volcano eruptions, and one volcano eruption has as much CO2 output like Europe in 10 years, or the numbers are crazy. To kind of calculate this stuff around is it's a far stretch, man. But this is a different story. Karim Setki says, hey Manny, I'm currently dealing with a wrist injury from a mental move. Oh, damn. After a week, the pain has decreased and I am able to hang and train on it. Have you dealt with wrist injury? Yes, I did deal with that a little bit when I trained very heavily on the handstand push-ups and stuff like that. I did have something like this, but I always did deal with it like I do with all of these injuries. I reduced the intensity a little bit and climbed it away. Essentially, I went a little bit softer also on the handstand stuff, and now I think stuff has adapted to some degree. So yeah, take it easy. Yeah, take it a little bit easier. It's a little bit of a pain that you got it during a mental, because this sounds like a one incident thing, right? You popped something, you overdid it with one move, and since then it hurts. This is a little bit of a pain in the ass. You have to take it a little bit easier and let it heal. Nobody really can help you, okay, except yourself. Just take it easy, climb it away. What was recovery like? Yeah, pretty much like that. I reduced intensity and climbed it away. I reduced intensity, especially on the handstands. And there was some sort of adaptation going on, which is obvious, because usually when we climb, then we get a lot of pulling force on the wrists. And on handstands, we get just the opposite of that, a lot of pushing. So it was kind of obvious that my tissues were not fully adapted to that, but now they actually are. And I feel no problems at all anymore. Street Static says, talk about climbing. This isn't a good look on you. Man, I don't care what's a good look or not. I talk what I think is... I talk my opinion, essentially. That's what you get when you come to my channels. Sad face, grinning face, laughing face. Bitcoin is doing all right now. That's true. Yeah. Bitcoin is doing very all right. And it's awesome like that, because that means decentralization of cash flow. Goodbye. I prefer the other channel. Have fun. Paul B says, do you know probably the Kogi indigenous north of Colombia? They fascinate me. Still living the natural way, but they eating mostly carbs, because one stream you said indigenous eat mostly fat and protein. That's a good thing. A good question, I should say. It's true. A lot of indigenous people eat a lot of fat and protein. However, if indigenous people, for some reason, have access to carbs, and it's usually those who are more on the civilized side of things. I think Colombia and the South Americas, that is, in general, they have had a very long history of very civilized, societies, and all the symptoms that come with that, right? Which is higher carb diets. They've got their corn, they've got their tubers or stuff like that, whatever they may have. Yeah. Again, if tribal people even have access to carbs, like for example, a lot of indigenous people have access to honey, they will eat it. And actually they will prize it. Yeah, they will prize it above all other foods. If you ask indigenous people like that whether they prefer honey or meat or milk or stuff like that, they would actually go with the honey. Yeah. Which is interesting, because honey is also what presumably rots your teeth away and makes you unhealthy. I'm not so sure whether that's actually true, whether it's actually the carbs that are the problem. That the carbs are not necessarily the problem, I think. What's definitely a problem in nowadays processed foods is the plant oils. The plant oils are very, very bad, I think. And the processed carbs, of course, the sugar, the white flour and stuff like that. There is a lot more, how should I say, less damaging carbs out there, because honey is very little damaging. Honey actually has, I think, a compound in it that flattens the curve when it comes to blood sugar spikes and everything. So there is less damaging carbs out there, and usually the carbs these people had access to, the tribal people had access to these less damaging sort of carbs. But I will say that if tribal societies had access to carbs, they would consume them, and they would actually prize them, which is why, again, and also I think it's a valid question. Why do we have amylase in our saliva? Why do we have a pancreas? Why do we have all these tools to help us digest carbs, to help us digest starch even? If there would be no purpose for all these stuffs, why do we have them? is the human not an omnivore in the end? Yeah, may it be that he is a very animal foods dominated omnivore, especially in very tribal societies and stuffs. Is he not an omnivore after all? Yeah, I can get. I'm a very big fan of that end conclusion, if you want to call it like that. Guess my tab. Actually, tribalism is coming back, but in a bad way. The groups you mentioned are getting more and more totalitarian. No nuances left. Definitely true. Yeah. No debates, just more passive aggressive snowflakey BS. Yeah, that's a big problem. The snowflakey BS is definitely a big problem. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah, this is a big problem. That's why I say, yeah, although there are these dividing topics now out there, we have to keep an open mind. Okay, keep an open mind, regardless on whether side you are. If you can manage to do that, you will. Yeah, you will also keep your sanity in this whole situation, and you might end up on the right conclusion. Yeah, on the truth, essentially. Keep an open mind. Yeah, and be able to tolerate different opinion. Yeah, that's why freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is awesome. Freedom of speech is now under attack more than ever. Yeah, big censorship is happening on the internet and stuff like that. Freedom of speech needs to be. That's why I think it is also in the U.S. Constitution and everything. Yeah, freedom of speech is mighty, and we should keep it. We should we should value it. Beb Soto says 135 is 61 to 62 kilograms. I think that's light as hell for 5'10", because 5'10" is, I think, 2 inches taller than I am. And 61 kilograms is 6 kilograms lighter than I am. So this is definitely an amazing body composition then. Yeah. Two-handed 14 millimeter edge, only benchmarks. Yeah, that's good. 7B plus benchmark is amazing on the moonboard. That's pretty strong. Two-handed 14 millimeter edge. The 14 millimeter, I guess you mean the lateral small edges, which on my Beastmaker are interestingly 15 millimeter. But okay. Yeah. It's good, man. It's good. Paul B says, I watched most of your stream and also watching Tony Heller. Thanks for the recommendation. He's awesome. Yeah, he shines a lot of good light on certain topics. Yeah, definitely on the climate change thing. Yeah, the climate change thing is Tony Heller is really amazing at picking that apart. Now I actually haven't followed him that much anymore because he does a lot of COVID stuff, and I don't know. I feel like I try to not occupy all my time so much with this kind of thing. Why do you think the not so round Earth community is censored? Yeah, the not so round Earth community. I don't get it. First of all, just prove it wrong, like you did, and that's absolutely not scientific to not discuss, ask question the status quo. Always listen to all sides isn't the right way to do so. I find that really interesting as well, to be honest. Why they censored that kind of community, it's hard to say, man. Maybe it was just too much out there. Maybe they were associated with some other bad topics, or I have no idea, to be honest. Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest. Yeah, maybe it's hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. But yeah, as you say, you always should discuss all standpoints, all viewpoints, and you should try. I mean, that's what a debate is, right? This is the in a censorship-driven society, a proper debate cannot take place because there is so many topics that you cannot bring up, right? You always have to be careful. Did I say something wrong? Oh, how freaking boring. Okay, freedom of speech is so important. It makes amazing debates. It creates amazing debates, and just to exclude a community like that is total nonsense. Yeah, I don't know why is NASA not going to make a simple on-Earth experiment, which would be super easy and prove once and for all that it is round. Right? It would be so simple like that. And then, of course, they don't do that simply. And this only fuels this group in their belief that it's actually not round. Yeah, so, yeah, it's kind of strange like that. Yeah. In the end, if you want to be sure, you got to do the experiments yourself and see for yourself. Yeah, don't believe what anyone else is saying, because you might get something that is censored and filtered and should form your mindset in a certain way, and this is to be avoided. Yeah, always listen to all sides. It's the right way to do it, I think. In Cypher says, I agree, although I cannot agree with all opinions, many others. Anyway, I respect his opinion as long as he has a strong and logical argument behind. Yeah. It's I always think of it like back in the day, you know, when you watch the what's it called? The Holy Grail. No, it's not the Holy Grail. It's the Life of Brian, right? Yes, it's the Life of Brian. Monty Python's The Life of Brian. There is this scene where they are on this market in the Middle East, down where they're on this market, and there are these guys, right? These guys standing on these boxes beside the road, and then they scream their crazy opinions, you know, into the public, right, into the masses. And they standing next to each other, and everyone preaches some other crazy stuff, right? Trying to get ahead, trying to scream something that resonates with the most people so that they would be seen as the next messiahs and stuff like that. And they scream their opinions out there. And this is kind of what we see nowadays. Not only that is not taking place on the street like that, but it's taking place on the internet, right? There's a lot of different messiahs out there screaming their opinions, screaming their theories, their conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And people can pick and choose and put themselves into this echo chamber, the echo chamber that they choose to create that bubble around them, that world which they would like to have, right? Which they would like to see in reality. And it's hard to keep an open mind like that in a place like that. Yeah, don't get trapped in any echo chamber, whether it's the one side or the other side, even if it's super logical and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a funny place to be, but I love it. Yeah, I love it, man. I would not censor any of these guys. I would not say to any of these guys on the boxes, "Hey, shut up! You cannot say anything like that." You can say anything you want, okay? Saying does not do any damage. Of course, now people think differently. Now people think, "Oh no, you insulted me. You touched my soul," or I don't know what they are thinking. But this is why, in one stream, also one person said, "Don't you get offended by something like this?" And I made clear that I don't get offended by anything someone else says. Okay, you cannot offend me, for example, by saying something. It's not possible, because I can decide for myself whether that's somehow bad or making me feel bad or stuff like that. This is a decision in the listener and not in the sayer. If we start like this, then we can start censoring anything, and this is restricting free debate, and this is in the end restricting human progress. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Yeah, freedom of speech is very important. What's the next step? Should they censor then what you think? Is that the next step? Will they somehow control the next thing that you think, and then you cannot think that anymore? Or what? Where do we draw the line there? Yeah, saying something does not hurt anybody. So you should be able to say what you want. People can decide for themselves whether they listen to you or not. They are responsible for themselves. They are adult people, right? So yeah, I think since we arrived on the bottom of the chat, I would say, let's call it a day. I will take one last sip of the live stream receptacle, the beautiful Erdinger. Our beautiful candle went out as well, probably a long time ago, my friend. I've talked myself into a frenzy again. Awesome stream. Cool stream. We started very climbing focused. We ended very conspiracy theory focused as usual. Great. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining again. Thanks for the awesome questions. I think I'm gonna mount those monos tomorrow, I think, or something. They are actually awesome. I think they turned out pretty well. Pretty excited to see whether I can actually hold them. Probably not. I still need to train for those. Yeah, drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. Helps the stream a little bit with the algorithms. And I think I will see you soon in the next one. I wish you a happy third Advent, my friends. Keep celebrating your Christmas or Yule or however you want to call it, okay? It's the spirit again. The spirit is in the air. I can already feel it. Christmas is around the corner. It's like, 11, 10 days or something. There's going to be one more live stream before that's actually going to happen next Sunday. I still need to timestamp the stream before that stream. Yeah, looking forward to it, okay? So look out for the little pop-up thing, the little announcement, it's probably called, for the next stream. It should occur at some point next week. And I'll see you there, my friends. Same time, same place as usual. Have a great one wherever you are. Happy morning, happy evening, happy way to your work. And I will see you soon in the next one, my friends. Bye. Have a great one.